Hello. Thank you guys so much for clicking this podcast today. I really appreciate it. I've been very excited to make this podcast. I have the core team, the devs from Muesli Swap here today, and we're actually going to be talking about everything you need to know about Muesli Swap, the DEX. It's an alternative, to SundaeSwap. I've been making a lot of Sunday videos lately, and I think it's very important to show you guys an alternative and also to learn more and hear about the future of this team. So how are you guys doing today?
Hi, nice to be here. I slept out, had a nice morning, worked a little.
Happy to hear it. I wanted to start off the conversation lighthearted. What is muesli? As an American, I've never really heard that term before.
Yeah, so you might have heard of oatmeal instead. It's basically a really popular breakfast choice in Switzerland, where we are based, or in Germany as well. And yeah, you can choose your oatmeal or your type of cereals, and then you'll add some milk to it, and then you can enjoy your breakfast, basically.
So is it really, really popular where there's like shops that focus just on that, where you can go and just get muesli?
Yes.
I mean, typically in the cereal aisle, you have 5 or 10 at least different types of mueslis too. So yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that.
Popular.
That's very interesting. Here in America, I wouldn't say I've ever seen like an oatmeal shop before. So it's interesting to hear the difference in culture there. So my second question for you guys is, why Cardano? I noticed that you're initially launched on Binance Smart Chain, and then decided to also open up another edition on Cardano.
So the BCH part was only to get a feel for it. What do you have to do? How do you promote it and stuff like that. We only came into the team later on when basically with Cardano. The BCH part was done by Christopher and his co-founder at first, and then we joined. And the idea was basically we saw, there's no DEX on Cardano. We thought why not give it a try? And I mean, if it fails, we did only lose our time, and if it works out.
And then also, for Cardano, you have the benefit of really low fees and a really low energy consumption compared to previous blockchains. So that's also a really motivating aspect that brought us to develop for Cardano.
For sure. That's really a great reason, as an entrepreneur to build something, or as a developer, there just isn't one. And I honestly think that's why, the community has shown you guys so much support, because I actually, your site was the first time I'd ever connected my wallet, to a site, and then, did a trade of some sort, on Cardano, which is new. So you guys really filled that gap there, and, the community is coming out to praise you for that. It's pretty awesome. What is a DEX for people that, don't know what a DEX is?
Yeah, so the idea is that it's a decentralized exchange, focusing on the aspect of decentralization. And the main idea is that you do not have to send your money to a big company or bank and trust that company or bank, but that it's decentralized and, in our case, locked on the blockchain, and only you yourself can unlock it. Or, in the case of our DEX, it can be unlocked by a matching order. So basically what you do is, you place your order, you specify the limit at which you're willing to buy a specific asset or sell an asset, and then it's locked. And then we have these decentralized matchmakers, which are looking at all the different orders on the blockchain and find matching pairs and then pair them up. And that's how you can trade in a decentralized way.
Yeah, so I think another important note is that not every exchange on the blockchain is automatically decentralized. You have to use, in most cases, smart contracts. I don't know if there are other ways to do it, but you typically use smart contracts in a way where everyone could basically just create their own smart contract and start swapping things. So
yeah, and I think that is a very important note. Not every exchange on Cardano is decentralized, and while some can state that they're decentralized, there's a lot of centralization. However, the caveat to that is, everything's new on Cardano. Cardano itself, in my opinion, is still inherently centralized, and we're moving to a decentralized ecosystem. So, these decentralized matchmakers that you talk about, how does that work? Like, how do you elect to be a matchmaker, or is that simply you just creating a contract, with a certain price?
So basically, I'm actually not quite sure about the details, but as far as I understand it, you have like your smart contract is the order itself. So you place an order for a front end. This creates a smart contract with your limit and amount values. And the matchmaker looks for a matching order on the other side. And then he notifies both smart contracts, hey, I've got matching orders. Maybe you want to match.
Yeah.
And the smart contracts, if they match, so they check themselves, is this a valid order I can match with? And then they come together and magic happens.
So basically, the smart contract lays on the blockchain, and you lock your funds when placing an order in that smart contract, and then it's just iterating over that smart contract and finding the matching pairs. And what we have is also a small incentive for matchmakers. Basically, you pay a certain fee, and some of that goes to pay the chain from it, and then there's a small amount left, which is the incentive for matchmakers, which is like a leftover amount. And you as a matchmaker can also have then this little rest of a fee, and you can collect it when you pair those two orders up. And also, of course, when somebody is willing to buy at a much higher price, and then somebody else is willing to sell at a lower price, for example, you as a matchmaker can keep the difference between those, because in that sense you specify your limit, but then if there's something left from that limit and all parties get their desired amount, then the matchmakers can keep the difference, and that's the main incentive for people being matchmakers. As in some cases you can, if there's a large leftover amount, then the matchmakers can keep the difference, and that's the main incentive. So that's
so on another note, we are currently working on making it easier to become a matchmaker, basically, because so we know that there are other matchmakers than us out there. And we don't have really much documentation about that. We're working on creating a program so everyone could get started being a matchmaker.
Okay, so you guys aren't the only matchmaker there is. If someone was technically savvy enough to do it, they could right now. You guys are just working on that documentation. Okay, so is this really a job for the SPOs? Is this a classical sysadmin hosting servers? One thing that's really nice about Stakepool operators is as we head into Alonzo and there's a bunch of different services that can be offered on Cardano, there's really more jobs for us. And is this a job for the SPOs?
You mean for us hosting the whole
matchmakers?
Yeah. The main idea is that it's a job for the community. So of course, the more matchmakers there are, the more decentralized it is. So we have a really high interest in getting as many different diverse matchmakers into the system. So there are already some people who have successfully reverse engineered our method and are functioning as matchmakers, but we are of course interested to increase that number and to involve the community more and more.
Awesome. So how is MuesliSwap, different from other DEXs? We've talked about it a little bit. You mentioned that, they essentially submit their tokens into a smart contract, and that allows, someone with a matching order to take that out of there. So is there any other differences other than that? And because, my understanding of DEXs, before I found MuesliSwap, was the classical AMM, with liquidity pools. And so is that really the main difference there, the smart contracts?
You mean the main difference, whether there are liquidity pools or not?
Yeah.
So on a really low level, there's not that much of a difference there. So you can also see a liquidity pool as some sort of limit order book. So maybe just to start from the beginning. So our form of DEX is like inspired by probably the most popular or basic form of exchange you can have, which is the order book exchange. And the idea is just that, yeah, as I told before, you have a specific limit at which you're willing to buy something or sell something, and you place those orders, and then you can just scroll through the book and see all the orders. And in our DEX, so many people are not used to it from Ethereum, for example, but in our DEX you can see all those orders. But the AMM model is just you can also see it as placing limit orders, but you have the liquidity pools, the external liquidity that people are providing. So there's really not that much of a difference besides that in our case, you can actually specify the limit at which you're willing to pay something.
Yeah, so another thing that's typical for like liquidity pools is like the slippage. And we don't have that because our protocol is like, we want to buy, sell at this price or buy at this price, and nothing besides it. So maybe your order will be matched to something like higher and lower if the matchmaker can make like a profit from it. Technically, a matchmaker could probably even like lose money and match your orders anyways. But that's not in the interest of the matchmaker. So
yeah, I really like that. You know, there are so many DEXs all coming and trying to do the same exact thing, and it's, you know, a Uniswap style 50 to 50, and you guys just come and just do something completely different, you know, using smart contracts on Cardano. That's really cool. So because of that, there's going to be no farming in the future for users, right?
There is going to be farming, definitely. So basically, our milk tokenomics says that we have a specific amount of milk tokens, and we will not like mint anymore. But you will be able to stake your milk, for example, and then receive other tokens as rewards. And we are also planning on having automated market makers like we're planning to do a hybrid type of DEX, and we're releasing a new contract very soon, which will allow us to do that. So we will have some form of farming in the future.
Okay. So stating that, you know, my next question for you guys was, you know, do you think this order book model will scale? So do you think there's, you know, an advantage to having a hybrid model of both, you know, the order book? I mean, obviously, so you see there being an advantage there because that's what you guys are doing. So what is that advantage, you know, of that hybrid model?
So the problem currently is like in a liquidity pool, as the name says, you have liquidity. That is, your orders will be matched quite quickly, and you will typically receive your tokens back quite quickly. That's not the case for us at the moment, as there might not be orders which match your order. Because of that, you can depending on how you place your limit, have multiple days of wait time. If you stick to the recommendations we put out, like right side next to the buy and sell button, or you click on the direct match button, you typically don't have these issues. But the idea of the hybrid model is basically injecting liquidity into this order book style exchange. That is, we have like a separate entity that basically does matching and might also sometimes sell at prices which the market does not have, in the expectation of making an overall profit.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Go ahead.
So yeah, liquidity is probably like one of the main things that we're looking to get more into our DEX. As Pascal just said, so somebody might want to buy like a huge amount of tokens and there's not a direct matching order, and then you'll have to wait. But very soon we'll switch to also allowing partial matching. So yeah, like a lot of small orders can then combined fulfill your large order, and that will bring a lot more liquidity to the market.
Yeah, that's something you can look out to with V2 of our smart contract.
Okay. Yeah, so it's really just to provide a better user experience, you know, quicker to get in and out at certain prices. That makes sense. What was your guys' experience, using Plutus? As I said earlier, you guys came for Binance Smart Chain. You didn't work on that, but Binance Smart Chain is actually Solidity, and Cardano writing smart contracts is Plutus. So how was your experience learning that and using it?
So it has been quite good, but we are not the main part of the team, like who was in charge of developing the smart contract. So we looked at the tutorials on YouTube and we tested it and had quite a good experience with it, especially because we had like a really strong Haskell foundation from university back then. But we are not the part of the team who was like leading the development.
Yeah, that's fair, and I appreciate your honesty there. I'm always curious, because Plutus is so new for a lot of developers. I'm always curious to see the troubles or the good things that came from that. So you mentioned smart contract V2. Other than that hybrid model, these liquidity pools that you guys are moving to, are there any other good features for users in smart contract V2 for MuesliSwap?
So I talked before about like direct matches, but what we are currently doing is not like a real direct match. We are just placing a matching order and hoping that a matchmaker will come in and really direct match it. So there is the possibility that your order has already been matched in the time you took to place your order. And another thing that will come with V2 is like direct matching, so that you can be sure you get the order you selected and no other one. And like as Samuel said before, partial matching, so that you can group together multiple size orders into one, or even have just part of an order filled.
Okay.
And also, so this is not like a crucial part of the smart contract V2, but an upcoming feature is our NFT marketplace. So that will be probably released somewhere in the next month. And that is just that we have seen that people really want that flexibility. And yeah, we also want to give users more flexibility. And being also able to trade NFTs on MuesliSwap will increase the flexibility and the user experience drastically.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys are really, you already have a working DEX, but, moving towards an NFT marketplace. And I also saw a launch pad. That's awesome. So are you guys really just trying to build a whole ecosystem of products for the Cardano blockchain?
Yeah, so that's the great vision, basically. We still have to see what works out and what not, but we have many ideas, like the NFC marketplace and the launchpad. So on another note for the NFC marketplace, we had this idea basically because our protocol already supports like NFCs. They are just tokens. So you could already trade NFTs on our DEX, but yeah, I mean, there's only one. So in an optimal case, there's only one of each, right? So
yeah, of course. So the launch pad, can you tell me a little bit more about that? What is a launch pad and what is your guys' plan going down that path?
Yeah, so the idea is basically to give users the whole experience that are also able to create their own tokens on MuesliSwap. But the launchpad is something that will be after the NFT marketplace. So as we said, we're trying to build up like the whole ecosystem, and it would be really nice for users to also have the ability just in a few clicks create their own tokens, and that's the launchpad 4. But first, we will develop the NFT marketplace.
Okay. What is the milk token?
So that's basically our utility token, and currently it has no real utility, but it's closely linked to the success of MuesliSwap. So if you think MuesliSwap will go up in the future, you should probably invest in it or think about it. And that's the usual stuff. That's no investing advice, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, NFA, no financial advice.
But we are planning on actually adding utilities in the future. So soon we will add like fees, and we were planning to have like fees reduced for milk holders. So basically to have a utility. Another thing, I don't know if you saw it, but we added like a My Assets page to the front end, and where you can see basically all the prices and values of your wallet currently at market prices. But currently it's only supported for featured tokens. We are planning to also release it for all tokens.
So go ahead. Sorry.
There are many other plans we have for it, for example, such as voting rights for specific new features. So the idea of the milk token is just to involve the community more and have like this interaction for people who are holding milk, and that's the whole idea about it. And yeah, one aspect of that would also be voting rights for like a new feature when we have like a selection of different new features, and then you can decide which one comes first.
Okay. This notion of a a featured token. What is a featured token?
Oh, okay. So currently we have like the community page, so community markets and like the featured markets. So in the beginning, we only had like featured markets. So every token we listed you could trade for our site. We as the team had a look at it and verified that, I don't know, the tokenomics work out and they don't seem fishy or stuff like that. Or in case of Hosky or something like that. I mean, that's obviously a job. And
go ahead. I thought you were done. I apologize for that.
Oh, no worries. And all featured tokens are like listed by us. So we basically have our stamp of approval on it. You can trade them. You can be sure that's like the real token you trade and no scam token, which tries to fake the token signature and everything like that.
So in the future, with the milk token, will people be able to vote in featured tokens?
That is one idea that we have. So the idea is just you can trade any token on Cardano on our page. You can just put in the policy ID and the name currently. So we have these two sections, one where we have actually looked up everything, and then all other tokens, and one aspect of the milk token that we're planning is that users can vote for which one will get verified the next.
Yeah.
Okay. So are there any, other things that you guys are planning on building? I looked at your roadmap and you guys have kind of already done everything that you said you're going to do. We've reached the end of the road, So what does the next year look like, or this year, 2022, look like for MuesliSwap and everything else in the ecosystem? Anything, upgrades, additions to the NFT marketplace launchpad?
So we are currently looking into like scaling everything because the Cardano blockchain is like, it's at a hard limit currently.
Yes.
So the Cardano blockchain will be scaled, but that's not part of our job. And also we've got quite a few issues with like NAMI, for example, reporting mempool full. So we had like an idea how to fix that, like from our side, like how to help with this congestion on the wallet side. And also in general, our backend. So we can give more API access to people. Like currently we have a small API documentation, but we try to make it more accessible to everyone basically by scaling up.
And so many of the features further ahead also have to do with increasing liquidity. So we will also have that hybrid DEX model, and then also liquidity pools. But then also for like the classical order book style, we have plans on involving the community by releasing, for example, guides on how you can be a market maker. So basically like an automated trading bot, which is providing liquidity or is just searching for opportunities. It just depends on how you want to configure it. So that's another thing. So many of these new features will also be ways in which we can involve the community to add, for example, more liquidity or have more matchmakers.
Yeah, so that's another thing. So we saw many of our community members like wrote their own tools already where they track the volume or something like that, for which we didn't yet add official support. And it's really cool to see with what features they come up with, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's always awesome to see the community show up and, kind of build some of that utility out for you that they need for themselves. So this is a few of these questions were from the audience, and this is one that I actually got asked a few times on my tweet yesterday. They wanted to know if the whole team is public And if not, just why? People like to, put a face to things, but I understand the necessity of anonymity. The U.S., for example, is, trying to introduce laws that would make, operating in the United States hard. So I could see that, but I'm just curious.
So yeah, I think everybody is basically or has like no objection to being in the public. So the idea is just in the beginning, like many people in crypto space are anonymous, and so were we in the beginning, but there was like no reason, like no fixed reason for doing that, and we realized that we can gain a lot more trust and interact better with the community by doing interviews and becoming public. So that's why we decided to step by step, like go to the interviews and So, but there's I think no one who really doesn't want to be public. And we'll also, for example, something that has been requested, update the team page on MuesliSwap very soon, where we then show images, photos of everybody.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I definitely got that question a lot, and it makes sense. The final question I have for you is, are your smart contracts audited, or will they be?
So we're currently in contact with MLabs for auditing our V2 smart contract. And basically our V2 contract stands, but MLabs is checking if everything is right, if there are any like potential issues which need fixing, stuff like that. You will probably hear from us first as soon as it's ready to go and auditing finished.
Awesome.
So yeah, for the current version also, it's been running like for quite a while right now, and we've also been testing it like even longer before that, and have found no issues there. And then the cool thing is also that it's publicly available, so everybody can just anytime look at it and test it. And we had also some community members checking the smart contract and checking back, and that was quite nice.
Yeah.
So,
but V1 specifically hasn't been audited by MLabs. That's really V2, and that's another really additional upgrade that you guys are looking for in the move to V2.
Yeah. So another thing about our smart contract is that it's actually quite simple. So if you know a little bit of Haskell and look at the code, you will see that there's not that much happening actually. So, I mean, we do exactly what we explain we do, but you don't have to do any crazy stuff to get it working. It's like it really plays out as you think it would. That's also why actually that's one thing why it should be secure, and it is.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate that. You guys answered all of my questions. I've learned a lot about what you're working on. Is there anything in this podcast that you feel that we should go over before we head out of here for today?
I can't think of any additional like really important topic. Besides, if you have any questions from the community left, then we're of course happy to answer them. Or if you have any questions yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we've covered a lot. Honestly, I've learned a lot from you guys and what you're building. And I just want to say thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you too.
Yeah. Well, for anyone watching, if you made it till the end, please comment MuesliSwap down below. I would really appreciate it. If you did enjoy the podcast, make sure you comment. If you guys also have any questions, feel free to comment down below. Click the like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell. It does help me in the algorithm. Thank you again for watching the Cardano Aura, and thank you guys again for coming on.